Yes, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to start off the perspective a little bit different. I want to read you guys a poem. They take my kindness for weakness. They take my silence for speechless. They consider my uniqueness strange. They call my language slang. They see my confidence as conceited. They see my mistakes as a defeat. They consider my success accidental. They minimize my intelligence to potential. My question means I'm unaware, and my advancement is somewhere unfair. And praise is premenuate treatment to the voice concerned as discontent. If I stand up for myself, I'm too defensive, and if I don't trust them, I'm too apprehensive. If I am deviant, I'm separate, and if I'm fake, I'm assimilate. My character is constantly under attack because my pride for my race makes me too black. I'm sorry for saying that, but this is a poem from Niger Candy. If you didn't know, I'm a member of Groove 5 Groove Social Fellowship Incorporated, and this is one of the poems that we go over with some of our potential members. So today I said let's do a little bit of Black history. Thank you, Stephanie, for saying let's do a little bit of Black history.
That would be me.
So again, let me introduce everybody. There's Nikki.
Hey.
Stephanie. We got Vanessa.
Hey guys.
And then we have Stephanie again.
Hi,
and
everyone.
together we are the perspective. So we're going to go over a little Black history today. We couldn't let February go by and not touch on this topic. And I also wanted to tell you a little history when it comes to Black history itself. So Black history started in 1926 with
Black History
Black
Month.
History Month. I'm sorry. Black History Month started in 1926 with famous Black historian Charles G. Woodson. He felt that America was not observing Black history, so he started off with Black History Week. Later on, it became Black History Month in February. The reason why he chose February was because it shared the same birthdays as Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, which were two prominent icons when it comes to Black history.
I never knew that. That's interesting.
Teachers use this month to actually educate their kids during their history class when it comes to Black history. It was never intent for them to only use this month as Black history, and this is what we face today when it comes to teachers now, when it comes to teaching Black history, especially to minorities itself. 50 years later, President Gerald Ford actually made Black History Month an actual month in February, and made it an observing month for all of us to observe Black History Month. So
Nice.
shout out him too. So now we go into the question what we're going to talk about today when it comes to the education to the kids when it comes to Black History Month, because teachers feel like it's dwindling, and some teachers don't know how to attack the actual topic when it comes to Black history. For some reasons, as of I spoke to a teacher earlier today who teaches in the South Bronx. Shouts out to Adrian Brooker, my brother, who has a bunch of Spanish kids. So he has difficulty tackling Black history to those type of kids when it comes to most of us, or some of us are from other types of descent, Haitian American, Jamaican American, Grenadian, stuff like that. So how should they tackle it? Or when your kids actually grow up, how should those teachers actually tackle Black History Month? Not just as a month, because even Charles G. Woodson Carter G. Woodson did not want it just to be for a month. He wanted Black history to be as iconic as American history itself. So we're going to talk about that.
If he teaches in a Spanish area, he can teach Afro-Latina history, because that's Black history.
Black history.
Absolutely.
And a lot of those people are probably Afro-Latina from that descent, so he can use that to connect with them.
He also told me teachers can kind of actually get away without teaching Black history at all.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Without teaching Black history. So maybe it's something that we got to do when I become a parent, or as parents, that maybe on their own they got to teach a little bit of Black history, because it's not being stamped upon.
No, you got to teach a lot of it.
It's American history.
Right,
You cannot teach about America without talking about Black history and slavery, the same way like you can't talk about America without talking about Native Americans. Like there's just certain things that you don't leave out. I think what makes it a little bit difficult in schools is because it's always the basic that a lot of schools talk about, like
Martin Luther
Malcolm
King,
Martin Luther King.
Rosa Parks.
So it kind of becomes
the Underground
redundant
Railroad.
in some places. So it's almost as if, we have to get creative and really talk about other icons, or the ones that is not really spoken about. We have to talk about Black history currently,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like the history of Black people, period.
Yeah.
Like right now, especially like we're in a generation again, and which is something that's just constantly continuous. Is like it's like the modern day lynching,
Yeah.
you know, of Black men, you know, specifically.
And also, I just think for children, for the teachers, I know that it might be hard to discuss Black history and take out the sensitivity of slavery
Yes.
and segregation and things of that nature, because it's hard to really explain to them that, you know, African American people were not allowed to do certain things without having white people sound demonic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of teachers, especially that's not in the inner cities, I feel like they have a struggle trying to get that point across, because a lot of them are Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
So to
Which
try
is
to
probably why
convey
they don't
that,
wanna
exactly,
discuss it.
to try to convey that to an African American class and not have yourself look like you may have the same kind of views as the people you're now trying to teach them about that we're not doing the right thing in, you know, in everyone's opinion. It's, I think for that it just might be a little bit difficult, especially with like younger kids. Of course in high school you're able to have more dialogue and just, you know, that's when kids really start making their own decisions and they have their own opinions about what occurred. But to explain to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth graders about segregation and slavery,
It's a
and
touchy,
show
yeah.
pictures of, you know, them getting spit on just for going into a place that they were not allowed to be in for no real reason.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's
why
difficult.
at those ages, and even now, a lot of times when you think about history on any level, you go, "Oh, that was so far ago, I can't relate." And we're really in a it's weird to say that we're in a generation of first, meaning our generation had the first Black president. Our generation
Right.
has the first Black NBC president. So we're you know, it's crazy. In 2016, we're still seeing first.
Right.
So maybe, you know, it's still, you know, to get these kids, younger kids, to kind of like understand or just have them correlate with it is having them realize, look, you're in history right now. Like you're living in a historic time right now because of, you know, these such things, and then glorify. You know, I always say for, you know, I know for my son, what I would like to do is when he's younger, like you said, first, second, third grade, we like to just give him, you know, icons, not necessarily teach him what slavery was, but give him the icons of Barack Obama, the icons of, you know, Shonda Rhimes and stuff like that. These are people who are making history as we speak, and then once he gets older, start to talk about the racism and stuff.
I think really, you know, teaching the young children is like really, really key, because if it wasn't for, I believe it's Brown versus Education, I don't
Board
know
of Ed, Brown versus
Board of Ed.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, then, and it was a simple just the comparison of the Black girls picking to see what's beautiful, who's beautiful, either the white doll or the Black doll, and like that's what really sparked the whole separation within schools. Like if it wasn't for that, so if a child 3-4 years old already feels like the color of their skin is inferior to something else. So when we teaching like the youth, like we like the younger, like 4 or 5. We have to be a little bit more creative where we can still have the same message, but it's not as, you know, as strong as it would be if we're in like, you know, African American history and University at Albany.
Which not a lot of.
I think it's maybe okay for me. Like my niece only knows a Black president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know that that's not normal.
Right.
So I don't want to take that from her for her to know that that's not normal. I want to be like, oh well, yeah, my president's Black. Like that's not a big deal to her because that's normal. Not to say that she shouldn't think. You know, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like that to her. It's not a big deal.
You still got to teach her how long it took or the struggle it would have taken somebody.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's necessary to show 6-year-olds about slavery.
Right. I don't think so either.
Not now.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about teaching the kids, I think it's clear to teach them about history. But I don't think we should teach them like, oh, look at these pictures of lynching. But as they get older, they should learn that. But one thing I feel like a lot of people strip these kids of their youth because of race. Like it's like kids don't know racism.
Right.
They play with the white kids. They don't care about that stuff. That's a taught thing. So if you continue to allow them to just experience and grow and then go from there, like I don't want my child feeling like, well, he's white, so he might look at you sideways. He gonna look at you like, what? Like, I don't even know what that means.
that's
and this generation, to me, they're a lot more aware of certain things, but they're just like, I don't want to do it the way it was before. Like, he's gay, whatever, who cares? Like, it's very...
They're a little bit more open-minded now.
Very open-minded.
I think at the same time, although they're open-minded, when they go into a situation where their race becomes a factor, it's almost like, I don't want to say naive, but it's almost like a little bit of a culture shock.
No, they are naive.
No,
I never
had
any racial issue until last year at my job,
right,
as a 27-year-old woman.
Right.
So it wasn't until then that I really started to see color.
Okay, but would you prefer to have known that when you were like 13?
I would prefer to have experienced it early.
Why?
Only because...
So she could be prepared for it.
Prepared for what,
not to say for me to be prepared, but for me to at least, it was different for me as an adult. I was like, oh my God, I made it all these years. It was an accomplishment too. So I did praise the fact that I made it all these years and I never had a racial issue personally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But to have it as an adult for me was like, damn, even after all this time, my color is still a factor. So I was like, I feel like if I got it at 13 years old, it wouldn't have made a difference really, but it kind of, I don't know. I can't say if I would have felt differently at 13 than I would feel at 27. I really, honestly, I don't know.
See, like, I don't want to say I struggle, but I want my son to grow up to live that life of not seeing color. But at the same time, I want him to be conscious that people do see color.
Right.
And I always say the hardest thing is to raise a black man.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Lord.
my biggest fear is I want my son to be conscious and like colorblind, but at the same time realize that your color still is a factor to other people, but I don't want you to make your color a factor to people. And it's really weird because it's that real fine line that you walk on.
You gotta teach them where it came from. That's why you gotta teach them Black history, because let's say, just like Lova said, we're not gonna teach a 6-year-old that Black people used to get lynched.
Right.
But somewhere in the adolescence, we gotta teach them that somewhere in your future, your skin color might be a problem.
So with my son, he's a little bit older, obviously, than Trey, but I know when we first introduced Kiri as my boyfriend to him, one of the first discussions that Kiri and I had was something about color, and my response to him was like, I don't raise Bryce knowing color. Not that I want him, like you said, to be naive to it, but I don't want him to look at somebody and like, oh, that white person, oh, this black person. And we haven't been that way. Also because, not even just because of just the obvious issues, but in my family, literally, my mother has 4 children. My parents had 4 children together. We all look alike. No, out of the 4 of us, none of us are the same color.
Different shades.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of us are different shades. I'm talking about I have a sister that is light. If you put her next to a Hispanic or a white person, you would probably think that she's their relative before mine.
Right.
And then out of all my siblings, I'm the darkest, and I'm not even
dark
per se. I'm not a dark per se black
you cafe,
person.
girl. You cafe.
So it's like when I told Kiri this, Kiri has been born and raised in the Bronx, where it's like you definitely know that there's different. Like, you know that there's black people, you know that there's Spanish people, you know that there's white people, and he didn't have that kind of
mixture
within his schooling or whatever. Like, the schools were very, I don't want to use the word segregated, but
they are.
They were very based on where they lived.
Yeah.
You could tell that certain, people of other ethnicities went to different places.
Right.
And I was trying to explain to him at my school, like when I went to elementary school, my friends were literally black, Spanish, Indian, Chinese. Like, we were everything. So I kind of wanted to afford Bryce the same opportunity to not really have that. And I remember there was a very sensitive conversation in my house between my brother and his friend, joking around, but they were like, we team light skin, and Bryce is like, Mommy, am I team light skin? And I'm like, you're team cadet.
And that shade thing, that team light skin, dark skin is actually deteriorating our Black history too. Because
we all do it.
A lot of people who are fair skinned I'll say it, don't really know their history.
That's
because
true.
The original shade of African American is the dark skin.
Yes, it
the
is.
The lighter you are, chances are there was massa in someone's cabin.
Okay, now.
Like, that's just what it was. Like, we're not the original shade that we are for it.
Caller, you're live.
Hey, how you doing? What's up, Jeff? It's Adrian.
What's going on, Adrian? Thank you for calling in, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Since being a teacher in the South Bronx, how do you tackle teaching Black history to kids?
Well, in my classroom, I do that in multiple ways. I teach in the South Bronx, which is an urban area, but maybe somewhere between 50 to 70% of my students are Hispanic. So when I teach during Black History Month, or I teach Black history in general, I've really got to hit different avenues so that the kids who are Afro-Latino or the kids who are Hispanic and have African backgrounds in their culture, whether they identify it or not, I have to introduce them to that aspect, as well as be able to talk about how things in the civil rights influence them. And keep in mind, I'm an ELA teacher, so I'm teaching English and literature. So I'm trying to teach this through like a literature lens. So I don't even get to touch on the historical components like a history teacher would be able to. So,
do you find that you get any backlash from the students
Or the parents.
or the parents or anything like that?
Backlash from the parents? No, not particularly. I've only gotten backlash from parents once, and that was teaching Down These Mean Streets by Peary Thomas. He was talking about his experience growing up Puerto Rican in the South Bronx, and he dealt with some of the colorism issues. But some of the language and the content in there may have been the only time I got pushed back in terms of teaching Black studies or something like that in my classroom. But no, not from the parents. From the students, not necessarily backlash, but like I said, during Black History Month or, while teaching Black history, you can only teach Martin Luther King or somebody for so long,
Right.
or if you teach like Frederick Douglass or Malcolm X, you got to keep in mind the Hispanic students are sort of clocked out because they don't necessarily see how that relates to them.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adrian.
Thank you for
Adrian.
calling.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
for calling,
Adrian.
Adrian. We got to speak some
You're
more.
welcome.
And speaking about teaching African American history with, Latin American or Hispanic cultures, what kills me the most is when a Black Hispanic or Latin American male or female says, I am not Black, I am Hispanic, or I am Latina. How can you say you are not Black? You have Negroid hair, which is the original, gene of an African American person.
Okay.
You have the dark skin as me, and you, for me, I say the audacity to say you're not Black. I find it like
It's a shameful
it's like
thing.
what is the shame of saying that you're Black?
Because by saying it, they associate themselves with everything that Black people
Go
go through, and they don't feel like
they go through
want to
that.
associate
I know
themselves
people
with it.
that was like, I know someone who,
But they use the N word left and right.
right, and that's another thing.
But
It's like
my
someone I know who's Panamanian, she swears up and down she's not Black.
oh my lord.
Wow.
And it's not to say that because
How about
you're
you, babe?
darker skin and you have all these other aspects towards you that you are an African, that you are not fully African American, whatever. But just to have the complete denial, like I'm a Haitian American. I cannot talk about my Haitian history without talking about Native Americans.
Right.
I just can't. Native Americans named the land. How can I do that?
Right.
So that's like saying like, oh, I don't have any Native American in me. They named the land. Like how can I even have the
Audacity.
the
That's
audacity
it.
to say so? That pains me. It really pains me because I am a proud Black woman, and there's some Black people out there that says I'm not African, I'm Jamaican. That's another
I was
thing.
just about to say
Yeah.
that. What about even Caribbean cultures that say
We all come on
all-
the same ship
well,
and we split up.
Split up.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
We
That's
went-
all it
they
was.
just
No, I
dropped a few
agree,
of us
but
off on
that's-
each little
That's what happens
country.
when you
But
don't know
there's some people-
history. That's
But
what
there's
happens when
some
you don't know
people
history.
who have Caribbean descent, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican. Oh, I'm not Black, I'm Haitian,"
Yeah,
and
like,
stuff like
I've
that.
said that.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you don't know history.
I'm sorry. No, don't get me wrong. I know you looked at me.
I didn't mean it.
No,
I
you
didn't
looked at me like,
I don't do these things on purpose.
you see. Don't get me wrong. Okay, maybe I've said like I'm not Black American,
That
Okay.
okay. That's understandable.
Okay.
but no, I've associated with Black. I'm Black.
We're black. We're black.
But I've said, like, I'm not Black American. Like, me and my boyfriend go through this all the time because he's Black American. Well, he has descent in him, but
I feel like
I
with
think that also
Black
is a
American-
stereotype with as a Black American being the ghetto.
No, I don't
compared
know.
to a Caribbean
I don't
American.
feel like it's
No,
for
okay,
me.
go
I
ahead.
don't always feel like it's like a ghetto type of thing. I know when Haitian people say
Black American.
Black American.
American.
I know no. So in your defense, I know
Yes.
where you're coming from, and I know like what Haitian people mean when they say Black American.
No
But
culture.
but literally
Yeah.
in the literal sense, without taking that into perspective, I feel like the
Okay.
real difference is when someone says, "I'm not Black American." I honestly do feel like, for myself, I'm not speaking for everyone,
Right.
but for myself, I don't feel like I identify with my friends that are
Black American.
Black American only
Right.
because I know that my upbringing is different because of my Caribbean background.
Right.
So there's certain things that are expected within my household or within my family
and your culture.
and
your
my
culture,
culture
right.
that
That's-
I know is not the expectations of my Black American friends. So when I explain it to them, even they tell me it's a difference. Like, it's shocking
Yeah,
for them
absolutely. Yeah.
that there's certain things that I would have to do
Right.
or certain things that I find to be offensive or rude in front of grown-ups, and they're like, this is like regular life. So
Right.
I know
See,
for us it's just
yeah.
a cultural difference. I don't
Yeah.
think
Right.
This
it's
is where
That's
it
ghetto.
A ghetto.
I'm
yeah.
It's not a ghetto
No,
thing.
this is where I kind of like differ in a sense because, and it could be because I do have Caribbean background, so I totally get that part. But I also have Black American background,
Right.
and so when I started dating my husband, and his mother said Black American for the first time and put it in a derogatory notion. Woo, steam out
Yeah.
the head.
Oh, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
like I said,
No, but what
I
I'm
know
trying
what
to say,
Haitians- I know
but
what
this
Don't
is-
take it-
no,
mean.
no,
Don't
but
take it
this
to
is-
offense.
This is what I'm saying.
American.
No, but
So
let
I'm
me
not
explain
trying to
something.
say
No,
that
no,
they're
I
not saying
I
that.
completely get it. Like it goes like this now to me.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, as a Black American, some of like a lot of times, like one time, me and my husband had this huge argument because he was like, yeah, he was trying to explain to me. He was like, it's about the culture and the things that you do right and you don't do wrong, this, that, and the third. And then we were going like tit for tat, this, that, and the third. I was like, me too, me too. I get it. I would never do that. I don't
Right.
understand that. So it's kind of weird. But then he was like, okay, well maybe in your family, in your
That's how you're
household,
raised.
exactly, you were raised as such. And but at the same time, my mom thinks she's Jamaican and she's not. But but I did grow up with a Caribbean culture, so I have to say, partially, it has to be because of the Caribbean influences that I've had growing up that I recognize that maybe, which is why I don't see it. I do know, some, Black American kids will do certain things that a Haitian or a Caribbean child would never
Never
even,
do.
Think about it.
fix their face to. And I get that because I see Black Americans doing that. But when I go, no, I would never do that in front of my mom and
Right.
stuff like that. And so for me, I'm like, that's not a Caribbean thing. That is a respect thing, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
that's where
It's how
I get
you're
a little,
raised.
yeah,
It's
that's
how
how
you're
you're
raised.
raised. And that's how I get a little bit defensive with that.
I mean,
so
another thing is that we're like first generation here.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
another
we're
big
kind of like the beginning of like the
Integration of Black American.
So
and
our
their
parents are
Caribbean.
just
And
like,
Caribbean.
Black American in my, like, it's just a weird
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Like
weird.
the first thing my mother asked me is your boyfriend Haitian. That's the first question.
Yeah.
She
Yep.
doesn't even care about his name.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Is he Haitian?
Culture is
I
more
never-
important
Culture
than
is-
race.
Culture
Oh,
is
culture
more-
over race 20 million
20
times.
yep.
Like I have a
Race.
girlfriend, Chanel, love you, darling. Her senior thesis, she did her paper on 2 different couples. One couple, they were both Black, but he was Nigerian and she was American.
Okay.
Another couple, he was white and she was Black.
Okay.
And she did a paper on them. And when I tell you, the Nigerian and Black American had so many
Yeah.
more issues than the Black and white couple. Culture is way
Yeah.
heavier than race.
Absolutely.
Just like if a Jewish man
it's true.
marries a Catholic girl.
Oh.
Both white.
Yeah, they see.
Culture
Yeah.
is
Culture is
way
heavier.
heavier.
They
No,
say
it's a-
that Haitian Americans are the Haitian culture is the closest still to their African roots. So out of all the Caribbean countries,
Yeah.
they still have the same like strong
Right.
like African
We
roots.
still speak a different
But
language.
one thing that
right.
I did want to share is that as a Black woman who wants to raise a Black son, I never want him to grow up thinking or having to have any person outside of his race, which is still a problem also for me, for somebody to be like, yo, what's up, my nigga? and you're Asian.
Girl, good luck with that one.
Good luck.
Like
See?
to be honest, like that's like my biggest thing. So that's why it goes back to the beginning when we talk about teaching from like a younger age, because I have trouble going to like rap concerts and having the white person next to me
I
Oh,
don't go.
shouting. Like I internally, I just want to go. Like
Yeah.
I can't even really
Yeah.
enjoy
Enjoy
it
it.
Yeah.
because I'm so conscious and I'm so aware of like the freedom to say it. Not to say that people are equaling it to what it stemmed from, but just to have the fact that people have the freedom to say it and to still be celebrated because they feel like they're all sharing the same common ground, which is the culture of rap, or is it the
Right.
comedy, or of hip hop. Like that's my biggest thing. I never want my son or my daughter to have someone of an opposite. Well, yo, what's up, my nigga? You know, blah blah blah. You know, like
Oh.
it's
I
just
personally
become.
I just don't like the word.
Yeah,
I don't like it on like
kills me.
even with my friends. I'm like, really? Like I've had somebody slip up very recently, and they were just speaking freely. Not that they were like literally speaking freely, and they dropped like a nigga, and my mom was around. Yo, I wanted to die. I was like, like, did you see her sitting there? 'Cause,
Right.
Yeah.
like I'm
I saw
offended.
her.
I'm offended for her. I'm offended
Yeah.
for you, and
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah,
and I
that's
also,
And you should be offended.
and
Right,
also
right.
even-
No,
no, that
no.
person who said it.
No,
should be offended.
honestly,
Yeah.
but like I said, it's such a normal word for him
They
to
say it.
use
Yeah.
in his language that he didn't even mean it offensively. He literally was just speaking.
Yeah.
And I
They
was
use
just-
that word
I
over
was
saying
so
somebody's
sh-
name. Like
Yeah.
they'll say it over somebody's name.
my
Yeah,
nigga Jeff.
My nigga Jeff.
my nigga
Or
Jeff,
my
those
nigga.
kind of people.
Like they'll use
And
it.
it's not until a Selma movie drops that people go right back. And I find it, I get where some people come from, but I find it do find it a little bit disturbing that people no longer want to see any more slavery movies or any more civil rights movies, because it wasn't like, my father is 63. It was like 50 something years ago that the Civil Rights Act was passed.
Right.
My father's 63 years old.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like we've come far, but it wasn't
That long
Long
ago.
ago,
Still
yes.
tangible.
So
It's
it's
still, yeah,
It's
it's
actually
still-
still occurring.
It's still occurring,
the
yes.
same
My
word
grandmother
that,
is the first generation free slave.
Yeah.
So which means my grandmother's mom was
right.
was a slave.
I knew someone when I went to
Wow.
Albany the day that Obama became the president. Her grandmother, not even like her grandmother was a slave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's. I mean, that's really
It is
how
really- it's really
close
real.
it
It
is.
is, right.
Like your grandparents can tell you about
About it.
Yes.
now.
Really,
They
like
lived
how
through
it was.
They
Lived
lived
it,
through it.
lived
Still-
they
lived
lived
it,
through
yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
we just sitting around like nigga,
right,
nigga.
right.
And it's kind of like,
and they're probably turning
Yeah.
over like what
you know what's
the,
Yeah.
crazy? You know what I was thinking about the other day? This is crazy. I was driving in the car and the Beyonce song come on. The Formation, hands up, everyone. Thank you. All right now. So the Beyonce song comes on, and she says in the song the word Negro. And you know they bleep that
They
off the
bleep it
radio.
out. Yes,
All right,
they bleep
so
out
now,
Negro
back-
from
So
the
they
radio.
bleep off the word Negro, but I've heard nigga,
No, no,
nigga,
no, no,
nigga,
no.
nigga,
Yeah.
nigga on the radio.
No,
the
here's my
radio.
problem with the FCC, and I'm shouting you out, FCC. Okay,
Please don't
This is
shut
my
us down.
prob-
Please don't shut us
This
down.
is my
FCC.
problem with the FCC.
I don't
Won't let
get
me
it.
be, let
We're
me
radio
be
right
me.
now,
A little
so.
Eminem for you.
Right, right, right.
But listen, I have heard no lie. I love the Breakfast Club.
Breakfast
Shout out
Club,
to Charlie
yeah.
and Lee
Yo.
and Envy.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love the
They
Breakfast
go
Club.
That is
ham.
that is
The
my
beginning
radio
of the
person.
Breakfast Club says Breakfast Club, bitches.
Yes.
Yes, they
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
it
don't
is.
bleep
That
that.
is the beginning
They
of
can
it.
say bitches and they can say ass on the
Charlamagne's
radio.
mouth.
They cannot say
Period.
shit because the other day he was giving somebody donkey of the day and he could not say
Say
shit.
shit, yeah.
But he said bitches. He said ass.
Yeah, they say
But
that
they-
all the time.
My Negro knows.
They bleep out
Jackie
Negro.
Five Negro.
Negro.
And they
But
bleep
your
out
that's
Negro.
what
nigga, but your
they
nigga was
think.
just on the show interviewing him.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Don't
right.
miss
Yeah.
me.
And
with
that's the thing, like we
come on.
identified before African American as a Negro, and it's like, you know, like,
And that was a term.
that was a term that was
Used.
it wasn't like an offensive term.
depending on the context.
Right.
Like you can say it.
But
Right.
when J Lo and Ja Rule,
They
I'm Real
said
comes
that,
on
and
till this day.
they play
It's a
it.
throwback.
They play it.
I tell my nigga mind their business, but they don't hear me though.
Yeah,
play it.
Yeah.
I
But
never thought about
Beyonce
that.
said
They play it.
I definitely did hear that.
Yes.
They
They
don't
say
play it on the
it.
radio.
They still play it.
You know what's funny? If
Wow.
you
Play it.
listen to like an old rap song and they play it now, a lot of those N words are bleeped because they still play it the way it was played back then. But if you play the songs today, the N word is on the radio.
Rampant.
Rampant.
Wow.
And so is
Especially
bitches.
the
You know the
Breakfast Club.
DMX song of the Tanya, Letitia.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
They bleep out all the B words, all the N words. play a song now. They say bitches left and right.
Yeah.
But you gonna bleep out
Breakfast
Queen
Club.
B?
Bitches. That's
And you know,
Drop
that's,
one of Clues
that's why I'm
bombs on
so
them.
hard on like you guys, like my friends, because although we like, especially living in New York,
Oh my
like, we live
Lord.
in New York.
No.
We're like, I have a strong Brooklyn accent. Like it's like we live in New York, and a lot of I couldn't imagine living in the South.
Yo.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine living
no.
in the West in Texas. Like honestly, I was talking to my friends over the phone, and I was just like, there's some beautiful white men in Texas. I was like, oh my god, you gotta go to Texas. They're like,
Oh
hot
yeah,
and
when we went to
sexy.
Texas.
But then the first thing I said was, I'm afraid they may be in the Klan. I'm 28 years old, and I still fear the Klan.
Klan.
I do
Never
not
lived
support that
in the
statement.
You know what's funny? I'm not mad at you.
No,
I'm not mad at
no,
you.
and
I'm not
that's-
mad at
that's a
you.
serious-
No, it's a real thing.
That's a real thing. That's a
I
real
didn't
thing.
think
That's
of that.
a real
I
thing.
just didn't
Mind
think of
you,
that.
I was trying to
It's
like
true.
snag me a man in Texas. When I tell you,
They be,
the
you be getting
charm,
chose in Texas.
the
yo.
charm.
That is the place
We
to
were
go.
there.
if you
Yeah,
a
the
woman.
Texas-
We had
charm.
those
had a great
charming
time.
men.
Oh, but
Yeah.
man, and the thing is,
Yeah,
I didn't
you
even
know,
let
look.
your girl go to
I didn't
Texas
even
if
look
you
at
want to come
his
back to
race.
you.
I didn't even look at his race, but his charm. But then when I started to look at the race, I said, "Oh my God, I'm in the West.
You're in the South.
I don't want
The
to get
South.
dragged." I'm thinking, I've
Texas
seen
considered
pickup
the
trucks.
South.
I'm like, okay, pickup trucks. They like,
my
they
God.
some people be dragging black people from triple. Like, and the thing is that I'm a New Yorker.
No, it's true.
done.
So like when we up here,
Oh my God.
we're kind of blinded by certain things.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, United States of America, there's only 18% of black people in the United States.
Yes.
18%. And
That's-
because we live in New York, it's as if we the majority.
And we're not.
We're not.
You could've
So-
told me
so the
that.
minority.
I do encourage black men to consider yourself as a black man. Carry yourself as a black man in terms of you know what's against you.
You know where
and
most of the
what's
black
all
men
these
are?
things
Tell us.
in jail.
In jail.
Wrong. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. And Jeff, you're a black man.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I hate to
I would have
hear.
never guessed it.
No, I know, but I'm just no, because we talk about black men. We got one sitting right here.
Yes.
I hate to hear about. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of black men in jail, but there also are a lot of black men in college. I mean, I'm not gonna say that there's not.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact that the media may not portray it,
Shout
you
out to all
guys
the
are in
HBCUs.
college.
Hello.
HBCUs, solid
Yes.
black men.
Mm-hmm.
However, as a black man, because I have brothers, I pray every day they can come home safely. I do.
Yeah.
If you were to go to Texas, would you give an example? Would you date a white girl? You know what I mean? Like if you're out of your element of New York, we are in a box in New
Okay.
York. We are in a
Yeah,
box.
we're
We date
putting
everything.
everybody,
Yeah, we did everything.
We're putting in front of everything.
When I went to Texas, I felt the same way you felt.
Yeah.
Like these guys are out here with their cowboy hats, and they're like, "Oh, you pretty lady." But in the back of my mind, I'm like, he's probably calling me the N-word down the block, and I believe it. I'm not. I mean, it sounds bad, but I'm not gonna put it past them because in New York we are in a box.
Yeah.
Down south, and I have friends from down south. She was just like, when she moved up here and she heard how many times we used the N-word, she was disgusted.
Yeah.
And she's from South Carolina, and she was just like, down there, you're not throwing, unless you're from the terrible neighborhoods. But she's from a pretty middle class. You don't throw around the N-word. Ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
So as a black man,
Would I date? A
Would you date a
would
white
I
woman?
Date with a white woman?
In the West.
In the South, probably not.
why?
Probably they weren't rich. Here's the thing, we could do it up here because growing up, I had white friends growing up.
Right.
You know,
None.
I had like we had a mixture of cultures growing up together.
Yeah.
Their first generation, you don't know what they're teaching them. That's what I kind of consider too sometimes.
Their
You don't know-
grandfathers were slave owners.
Was
If
slave
our
owners.
grandfathers was parents slaves, their grandfathers, and they still
And
had
we-
those estates.
We don't know what they're teaching them,
Right.
those women, to us. So I'm not. I don't know if she brings me to her home, and I'm gonna be received well. I might be looked at by 6 white people like,
Or they might pretend like they received
or they,
you well.
yeah, or they pretend like.
Would you
but-
rather them pretend or just be
No.
out front?
No, just be upfront with me. If
No, you
don't
wouldn't.
Like,
You're a liar.
Nah.
I've actually been through that. I mean, I wasn't in the South, but it was maybe my last year in high school, and I was dating a white guy. He's not a white guy by the book, 'cause you guys know. He's not a by the book white guy. But if we see him, we all know
He's
that
white.
is a white Italian man.
And the Italians
He is
love
a
them some
white
chocolate.
Italian
Took me
man.
a minute.
And it was, I mean, prior to that, I had dealt with some racism prior to him and I dating, and at that time I was going to predominantly I would say white high school. I had left Elma and I was going to another program at one of the other high schools in our district, and in my graduating class there was only 7 black people.
Wow.
And out of the 7 black people, 5 of us were part of the same academy.
Wow.
So it was different. We, of course, stood out. We all hung out with each other. And this white guy in particular came from our neighborhood. So it's like...
He knew y'all.
He knew us, and he wasn't like the other guys at the school. So we started dating. Everything was fine. His mother, very sweet lady. She was always very sweet to me, very well received. But I remember, although, like I said, I had experienced some racist things prior to this, this would be the first time that I felt racism that hurt. Because I was hanging out with him, and it wasn't even just me. I was there, and I was hanging out with all of our mutual friends. David, what's up, David? And his grandmother came home. His grandmother was familiar with me. She knew we were dating. Like I said, it wasn't anything. We were still kids at that time, I guess. But she knew about me. She knew of me. And she had seen me maybe like once before, but like, you know, just in passing. And this day, we were actually inside of the house. We were about to step out. And the grandmother came in. And when she saw David and I there, which she was in love with David, up to my knowledge, in love with David. And she came in and she asked him, she was like, "You have people at the house?" He was like, "Yeah, like, it's not like a party, like, we're just hanging out."
Yeah.
And she said... She was like, "You need to get your nigger friends out of this house, you nigger."
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
And it's not like she said it behind it wouldn't make a difference if she said it behind closed doors.
Wow.
But he was so embarrassed.
That is
He was so embarrassed.
That hurts.
That's right.
And his mother, he said it to the mother. I believe the mother was in the house and might have walked in at the same time with her and heard. So the mother kind of started screaming at her, but it's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's her house. The mother's now upset with her. He's now upset with her. And at the end of the day, this is your grandmother. This is somebody you live with. I know that his mother and him did not have those beliefs, obviously. I was not the first black girl that he did. At this time, like, he had never dated a white girl up until this point. All he knew was black girls. All his friends were black. But the fact that she said that, and she did not have a care or qualm or nothing, that we were actually, literally, she might as well have said it to my face.
That's her
I
generation.
I was sitting here.
That's
their
generation.
And she called him a nigger lover. And it's like, "Tell your nigger friends to get out." And I promise you, from that day, that was...
Light bulb.
You know, as much as I knew it was not of him to even think in that manner, it was so hard for me. It was so hard for me to even continue. And even after that, like,
it wasn't the same.
I still spoke to him several times, and if I would see her, I would still be respectful to her, but everything changed. Everything changed. And I know he still kept a lot of the same friends. After me, he continued dating black girls, you know, but for me, it just was so uncomfortable to be in that position with somebody that, you know, you like, you're starting to feel, you hanging out, all this, that, and third, and this is what somebody that's in their home felt.
One thing I want to ask you, and we should have done this, well, you wasn't around when we did the first racism show. What was your initial reaction when you heard a comment like that? Because there's a thing now with black people when they hear stuff like that. Should they be angry, or should they more so just
You
take
should
it?
be
Honestly,
exactly how you feel.
Be how you
For that
feel.
instant, for that moment, honestly, I didn't know what to do. Like, a part of me wanted to be respectful because she's an older woman. But I felt like if I don't say something, I felt like I was doing something so wrong by not
You're
saying
shaming
something.
your race.
I felt like I was doing
not
something
standing
so
up for your
because
race.
you know what?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to take age out of it. And this is a discussion that I know I've had with my mom before. And sometimes, even though you're younger, you can still educate adults.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I have a serious problem with ignorance across the board. I don't care if you're 72 or simply 2. I have a sincere problem with ignorance across the board. So I felt like I should have said something, but because of the way he immediately reacted and also his mother, I felt out of place. Because honestly, I was in the woman's home.
It's very tough.
I was in, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we were in the streets or something. I was in her home.
Tough pill to swallow.
So for me, my initial reaction was, you know what? If I am not welcomed here, I probably should leave.
I would give her a hug.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
because in that moment she
No.
actually tried to throw out. She tried to throw something at him in the moment as well.
You drop
So
kick that old
wasn't-
lady. You take her
That
out.
wasn't no. That's not how I would react.
And-
But for me, that's what I was just like. You know what? If she's saying get out,
I'm leaving.
I'm going to leave.
going.
And
I'm
there's
leaving.
nothing that him and his mother could have said in that moment
Yeah.
to make me
They
stay.
say,
And I even
yeah.
said, I was like, listen, if you want to say that's cool, I'm not staying though, because at this point I feel disrespected. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be fake. That's what Haitians call someone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit in your house. She could have been black, saying get your
friends.
get your
Hey, you
freaking
the fuck
ugly
up.
friends, your monkey friends. I don't care. She could have been a black woman saying this,
Yeah.
and I would have left because at this point You have just uninvited me inside of your home. There's no reason for me to be there. I'm not going to be disrespectful and stay there.
Yeah. And that's like, and that brings me to like, you know, a lot of us focus a lot about like being a black man, but like being a black woman,
it's even harder.
It's equally as
hard.
harder because like I always say, and I think it comes a lot to with like culture and stuff. For like black women, when it comes to multitasking, it's been since slavery. Like we were taking care of massa kids,
his kids, your kids, my kids, the
and
man.
it's like I feel like I've
And
never
teaching
been
his
the
wife
kind
how
of
to be
woman
a
that
lady.
likes when guys like, you know, do like cat calls and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I hate when people like pay attention to my body because I always go back to, I was like, yo, like my ancestors were held in a cage so people could, you know, glorify the big butts and all these things like that.
Now they're getting these injections.
You know, now they're getting these injections to look
Shout out
like
to
me.
Dr. Miami,
But
man. I watch
my
every day on
picture
Saturday.
of my natural lips and my natural butt
Yep.
will never be as glorified as Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian got
This
on
one.
boxer braids, and I got them shits under my crochet as we speak. But homegirl is like, learn this
invented-
new.
She
invented
invented
the
boxer
boxer
braids.
braids.
Yo,
Like Muhammad Ali's daughter
child.
wasn't killing the game already in the ring.
What?
Right.
You know what's
Like, it doesn't
crazy?
make any sense to me.
Like I just
Like,
can't be bothered.
I
with
never
that
understood that piece.
foolishness.
And as a black woman, it's
I
like
just
I gotta raise my kids. I gotta work. We never grew up in the culture where the man works and the woman stays behind. We have been working since we were on the cotton field.
Yeah.
We have been working since we were on sugarcane. You know, field like and it's being a housewife
and never
is
getting
odd.
the credit and never getting the credit for it.
Never getting the credit. Being a housewife is odd in the black culture. Having a nanny is odd in the black culture because we were the nanny, we were the mother,
Yeah.
we were the sister, we were the brother. Like we were everything.
I get it.
And like you glorify me, and if I'm pretty, they put me in the house. And now Massa's wife is beating me up because she knows that Massa wants me to sleep with me.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's like it's. And that's why, like, we black women are always so sexualized, and it's because of where we came from. The black man is sexualized. They are the
Big,
ones that they have the big,
yeah.
strong,
Tall, dark, and
like
handsome.
if you see the way a white male is described compared to a black male, big, tall, buck, strong, aggressive. Big penis is always the myth of the black man with the big zozo.
Right.
And it's like, we're like,
Which is such a lie.
right, and that's why like what I actually do have a white coworker, and like when she describes, you know, like someone of African descent or something, it's always a little bit more graphic. Like we deal with a lot of girls in foster care and stuff, and right now our population is a lot of black girls, and the first thing that people would say was, "Oh, they're acting out. They should call the police, lock them up." And I'm so grateful for the principal of my school, of my job. Like, shout out to Carmen Pinto. Like, for real, I'm so grateful for her as a Latin American woman. Her words exactly was, I do not feel comfortable calling the police on a person of color. There's too many of us already in prison and already locked up.
You're right.
I'm not doing it.
You're right.
And that really like resonated with me because the first thing that a lot of people want to do who are not continuously locked up, like a lot of single women, hey, shout out to us. You know, it's like they're sending us to prison or they're in college and I passed the age already. So I'm like,
Right.
it's like a whole big thing.
Let me talk for the black man.
Go ahead.
I get it. You guys, the black women, we appreciate you guys, and I think that's why the black woman should always support the black man.
You sure?
But I
You see
just-
how what you just said?
You sure?
I appreciate.
Black women, we appreciate you, but you should support us.
No, but here's the thing.
I'm
Here's the
sorry.
thing. Here's the
You
thing.
just dismissed us
we go out.
No, but
into,
continue.
We go out into a streets that were never made for us in the beginning.
I agree.
I agree.
We are in a legal system that was never made for us in the
I
beginning.
agree.
We remember we came from a time where a cop can stop and frisk me just for the fact that I'm black.
And that was recently.
And that was last week or today, someplace in the Bronx.
And last year was a horrible year for black men because black men were dropping like this from cops.
Yep.
Right. Still
So-
are.
And still are. So I get it. You guys were sexualized, everything, and I'm not taking
You are actually.
none of that
No, it's
from
okay.
you guys.
Actually,
None of that.
Jeff,
I'm not
you are,
taking
and
that
I'm
from
starting
you.
to get offended.
I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that from you. I'm not taking that from you guys. We gotta work.
Okay, so do we.
We gotta pay the bills.
So do we.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
In a world that's
The
not
world
trying
is
to,
not designed for them.
for
And
us.
nothing. Mothers with black sons, I will give it to you
Exactly.
100,000,
Especially.
20,000%.
Especially if you're single.
Especially
Especially.
if you're single.
Mhm.
Personally, when I have children, I would love a son and I would love a daughter. But I know someone who says when I have a kid, he's like, I don't want to have a son because I'm a black man and I know how it's hard. Mm-hmm. And he's a successful, educated black man with an amazing job. And he's just like, yo, I want nothing but daughters. Like, he straight says it. He's like, yo, because how we are going today, can you imagine in 20 years?
But you know what, too?
And it's sad for him to say. And he's not one of those, like...
Now, he's scared. He's
Yeah.
scared.
He's all the way 100.
But you know
very
what?
centered with his blackness.
You did actually dismiss the black woman,
No, we didn't.
which is
dismiss
low
it.
key pissing me off.
I did not dismiss the black
low key
woman.
pissing me off.
I did not
But
dismiss
however,
the
I
black
mean for
woman.
someone because I know you do that with everything. However, what I do want to say is, as a black man, and I say to all black men, you know what's against you. You know what the world thinks of you. Why continue to live it?
Okay, so let me ask you
There's
this. Okay, no, I don't get that. I don't get that.
There's some people that it's like, okay, you know that like people like to stereotype black men as drug dealers or stuff like that, but you continue
to sell drugs.
Okay. Let me just say
like, you know what I'm saying, like it's
not everybody sells drugs.
I know
though.
not
That
everyone,
way.
but I'm saying like for those that, because it's like and they have like, I know some people that's just like, all right, fuck it, they gonna think of me how they want to anyway. But
I agree.
What is what?
That's the wrong.
I
That's
don't
the wrong
know.
way of
I
thinking
don't
about it. That's
know.
the wrong way
I
of
don't know
thinking about
enough.
that.
I don't.
You know who says that? A drug dealer.
No, me
Right.
personally, I don't know enough guys like that to even agree with that
Thank
statement.
God.
I will honestly say
Thank
the
God.
black
I agree the
men
same.
that
Thank
I
God.
have in my life, and I'm talking about on all avenues. My brother, my man,
Absolutely.
my friends, the people I consider family that are not blood extended. I have an amazing group of black men in my life that I will, without a shadow of a doubt, have no problem if Bryce would emulate any
Any
one
of
of
them.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They are college educated. They are
Yeah.
doing well in their careers.
But you're
they are,
lucky.
they are-
Yes.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
I could be lucky, but there's no reason why people can't have the same thing. You
Yes.
put yourself in these
Yes.
circles.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody that's a scammer, if you know somebody that's selling drugs, if that's your way of life, that's fine. That's not
Disassociate
my
my way of
reality.
life.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna associate that with
And-
my son's future as well.
Right,
The
right.
men that I have placed in his life, whether it be his father
Yeah.
or literally if his father was not able to be present,
Yeah.
just every other man that's in his life, I have made sure that I have a very good core
Yeah.
of men that at any moment, God
Yeah.
forbid something happens to me, those men would never let Bryce
Right.
fail,
And
and,
that's
they
one
would
thing I wanna
always lead
say
him in the right
Yeah.
direction.
One thing I want to say is that I don't think Jeff was discrediting being a black woman. I still agree that it, what Jeff says, you don't, because I'm with Vanessa where I have my husband, my friends, his friends, all the men that are in my life right now are great role models and examples to my son. And I just want to, like, I remember going to a club with me and some friends. It was just a couple of couples and stuff like that. And this is a nice club. It was a nice club, high-end club. We got a table. We popped bottles. We spent more than $1,000 that night or whatever. No, it was a different night. Different night.
I'll take it to birthday. Sorry.
I mean, we put some money in that club, and now it's time for us to go and stuff like that. And we were leaving, and there was a situation where the bouncer, which is so crazy because the bouncer was black, you have to take an elevator to go downstairs. It's one of the rooftop type places. So we're like, okay, we're next in line. It's about 5-6 of us. So we about to go. He goes, hold up, and let these 2 white girls go in. So we all like, we got a little look in ourselves, like, what the hell and stuff like that. So we're like, yo, why are you letting them go? So he was like, yo, y'all niggas need to step back and this,
Here we
that.
go.
Like, this is like crazy
And
to
this
me,
is a
right?
black bouncer.
This is the black bouncer. So then the owner, not the owner, but I guess like a manager or something like that. He comes in, he's like, what's the problem? I get y'all thrown out and this, that, and third. And we're like, we didn't do anything. So then they go, I'm going to call the cops. We had 2 cops with us. We like this.
They're right here.
Right.
Go ahead. Like, go ahead. And I say all I have to say is, nobody was disrespectful. They were all dressed to the 9. We spent
don't care.
We spent mad money in the thing, and they still treated these black men like they was hoodlums,
doesn't
like they
matter.
were scammers.
It's so sad.
It's still it's a sad world.
It's
It
so
is sad.
sad.
And whereas it's very hard for a woman to, I think it's very hard for a woman to gain respect in certain aspects of a black woman in the business world, and so many, and yes, we do a lot. We multitask. We do a lot of things and stuff like that. And I think the way I correlate it is we don't get the appreciation of how hard of what we do because we carry so many hats. You know what I'm saying? But a black man is different in a sense of they deal with a society that don't even want them there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna eliminate them by any means possible, meaning kill or put them in prison.
So while you were talking, it just hit me. Flavor Flav.
Oh,
I know.
I was watching Flavor Love. Right?
You a part of the problem. You a flavor flavor of life.
Flavor Flav always hated the word ghetto because ghetto was always associated with black, and it just hit me. I was like, yo, actually, the ghetto was a term to describe where they put the Jews during the Nazi time.
Holocaust, yeah.
So I'm like, how the hell did we get
That name.
name? You know, when you think of ghetto, because ghetto was the fact that there was like 20 people.
Now
They're
it's
turning
now
it into
because now
slums.
ghetto is bad.
Right.
And anything black is bad.
Right, and
But you got to
and
think about
while
at
you
that
were
time, the
talking, it just hit
Holocaust
me.
with putting the Jews, that was considered
It was a bad time, but
so-
there were no black people there,
Right. There's a few.
And we adopted the name.
We had 1%.
and we
I think
adopted the name.
yeah.
With Jeff,
I
with
mean-
what you said, I
Maybe
I
I'm devil's advocate.
I don't want to be upset like Steph is, so I'm not.
If I didn't mean to discredit
No,
the
so
black
what I'm
woman,
gonna say-
I
I
just
didn't
have a
mean
thing
to.
with. I just have a thing with.
I don't think you did.
I didn't mean to discredit the black
No,
woman.
what I'm
A
gonna
little
say
bit, but-
to you is, I don't feel like you were discrediting us.
Mhm.
I think what we as women collectively would all want, the same way that we're to support our black men, and I feel like we should. Honestly, there's no one that's gonna support a black man like a black woman.
You're right.
Because
You're
our
totally
struggle,
right.
our struggle might not be the same, but we're the
But we
closest
get
thing to
it.
what
To
you
it,
have
yep.
to.
Yeah.
Exactly. We all we got.
But
Yeah, but y'all love them little snowflakes.
But no, I'm not.
That's
even
a whole
getting
nother
to that.
show. That's
I'm
a whole
I'm
not
not
nother
even
about to
getting
say
to
that I
that.
agree with
But the flip side to that is the same way we support you.
We need this.
We need our
Yeah.
black men to support and uplift
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
And there's a
True.
quote
Yes.
I always
I
see it
totally
on
agree with
social
you.
media. I will absolutely. You have to lift me up for me to hold you down.
You're right. I
yeah.
totally
And if
agree
you
with that.
Write that down for me. Write that down for me.
If
Write
you're
that
not
down
gonna
for me.
lift
That's good
up
nugget.
a black
Good
woman,
nugget.
She got that
in
from
a
Curie
world-
from last week.
Curiosity,
But no,
Drop on the
seriously,
Carrie's bombs?
If you're not going to lift a black woman up so she can reach her highest potential, it's hard for her to support you with all the burdens that she carries. Because while we might not be fighting the same fight, you're right. The system, this world, this
Yeah.
life
Came from
is
your
not
rib.
designed for a black man.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I
don't
think
think it's
from
any
your
better for
No, it's not.
for a black woman, because our struggles might not be the same, but they come equally as hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we're dealing with the fact
Totally
that
agree.
women do not have the same opportunities just in general.
In
Yeah.
general.
And then on top of that, you have to put the stuff that
glass
I'm
ceiling.
African American, so now
We all gotta put
I'm
the
a
stuff.
woman
The bird
trying to
cage.
battle a white man and a white woman. Like I'm already looking
I'm
bad.
already
You
three
too,
steps
yeah,
behind.
I'm three
you
steps
already
behind.
You right.
God forbid I come with my natural hair like we were talking about
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Another show.
It's
And
another.
Another
It's
show.
another notch
Another
on my
show.
belt.
And one thing for you to remember and to promote to your black friends and your colleagues is we came from your rib.
Okay.
So you uplifting us, exactly what Vanessa's saying, is actually what's going to let the world see that we are a unit.
And
Right.
I always
We're not
appreciate this.
separate. We're
I always
unit.
appreciate this about other cultures. And literally, we
Yes,
were saying
yes.
this, like, even we were just talking about Jewish people.
They stick
I love
together.
that about the Jewish community. And I'm not one of those people that's so pro-black that I can't see the good in other cultures and races. I don't feel,
We
I'm
do
not
too.
that type
agree.
of person.
agree.
I absolutely love that about the Jewish culture.
And the
You will
night
never, and it's to the point where sometimes it's even crazy. Like, you will see them do something wrong, but in that moment, they will stand with their Jewish brother
Yep.
and sister and figure out a way. Don't let it be a Jewish criminal and a Jewish lawyer. Because guess
Yeah.
what?
Oh.
Yeah.
Guess
He's
what?
getting- He's getting off.
Guess what?
He's getting off.
He's getting
They're
off.
figuring it out.
Oh, no, no.
They're
He's getting
figuring
off.
it out.
Don't let a Jewish kid goes missing.
They're
Shut
finding
down
him.
New York.
They're finding him.
No, and
We
shut
are
down
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Shut down Brooklyn. Park
appreciate
slow.
that.
Parkway is
I
done.
appreciate
It's over.
that about their cultures.
I do
because
too.
even
Nah,
though
it's true.
Every culture has
You
their
said
good
Parkway.
and bad.
You gotta wrap
Every
up.
culture has their good and bad.
Absolutely.
But
But-
the way you see certain cultures
Supporting
not
Yeah,
each
but
other.
just
black
you,
people don't support each other.
But that's what I'm
And
saying.
that was actually our second.
that's
That was actually our
Black
second
people
topic.
don't support each other.
But-
I will say this. Hold on before you.
Yeah,
hold
we're,
on.
we're off. We're almost off. But that was
Hold on. All I want to say
Go.
is no. Black people do not support each
Go.
other.
Enough. They
Enough.
don't support each other
Enough.
Right.
Which we definitely should. And I had this conversation with someone previously. Personally, and I'm gonna be shunned for this, I would rather be pulled over by a white cop than a black cop. I
Remember
said it.
when we got pulled over? He told me shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna say it. I said it because I've been
I was
pulled
trying to
over by a
defend
black
you.
cop, and you'd have thought that I was a criminal because the black cop wants to stay in line, as opposed to a white cop who's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. It's okay. I said it. People are gonna be offended. It's reality because
You're right.
this is my experience.
You're right. That's what we experienced.
Black cops, I'm not saying all black cops are bad, all white cops are bad, but if you take a census, if I get pulled over by a black cop, I know I'm getting a ticket. I know it. As opposed to a white cop where it's kind of like, I might be able to get off because, you know,
He's nice.
he's nicer or whatever it is.
There's so much we could take from other cultures, though. Like
There's
I said,
so
there's
much.
so much
Like
good,
we-
good, bad,
I
and
never had to
indifference,
lift a
but we
finger
have
with
to.
my Nigerian people.
Well, you
Shout
know.
out.
But we have to take it.
But
But we have to take it to another show. Thank you guys for another installment of The Perspective. Next week we got Kwanzaa Billy. We are celebrating Women's Month next week. So we got Kwanzaa Billy. We're gonna talk about some women issues.
We should have
So
one of the women hosts.
might as well.
Might
So
as
I'm definitely not gonna be here next week. So it's an all-woman cast next week. So it's gonna be these 4 women with
Interesting.
Kwanzaa. So we celebrating Women's Month. So thank y'all for coming in for The Perspective, tuning in.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Say
Thank
it
you
loud.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Formation.
Thank you.
Black and I'm proud.
Email us with any other things.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna be here. I'll come in later.